Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here, or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, please do so, along with hitting that thumbs up button for me and dropping your comments. Love the comments. I try to read them all. They help me tremendously. Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. We had a nice little break, an all-star break that was much needed for me. And obviously it was needed for the Knicks. The Knicks got all three guys that were supposed to come back today, did come back. Bojan came back. Dante came back from his sore hammy. And Isaiah Hartenstein from his, he's nursing that Achilles. So this was a good situation. I felt very confident once we got those three back that the Knicks could pull out this game. And for a while there, it looked like a total blowout. Now, the score, Knicks still won by 14, but at one time they were up by 26. They got off to a tremendous start. The first half, they were up, I think, 69 to 47 or something. I mean, like a 22-point lead or something like that. Tremendous cushion, but they came out in that third quarter, were a little rocky, and then the game started getting a little bit tight. They let the lead get down to 6, but something very interesting happened in that fourth quarter when that happened. And I'm going to get into it. I got highlights for you guys, got stats, and I got some thoughts on the Knicks and where these guys may be going. Here we go. 110-96. The Knicks went to Philadelphia and took care of business against the Sixers. The Sixers without Joel Embiid still. They're going to be without him for quite a while. I believe their record without him is like 6-15 or something like that. So this was definitely a game that the Knicks had to win. They snapped the 4-game losing streak that they had going into the All-Star break, and everybody was gassed. I mean, the players were dropping like flies. They were playing, Jacob Toppin and people like that. Not that Jacob Toppin shouldn't get a chance. I'm just saying, in terms of you have to depend on like the far end of your bench to win. In the NBA, it's tough. It's tough to do it over a period of time, definitely. So at first, when Randall and OG went down, and their status is still, I can report on that status a little bit later. But basically, they're progressing well. Just to summarize it quickly, but it's a little more complicated than that. And Mitch also was he hasn't been given the green light yet to do any light running or any jumping at all. So that's interesting there. However, the Knicks did get back this man, Dante. And when it comes to spacing and three-point shooting, he's absolutely essential. They got back Bojan, who had a breakout game as a Knick today. So shout out to him. You know what? Let's before we go into the highlights, let's show you this here. DEUCE was the key. DEUCE was the key in that fourth quarter. Right here, I tweeted this out. If you want proof Thibs has evolved as a coach, he's leaving DEUCE out there to suffocate Maxey with 3 other guards. One of them was Brunson. And Precious at the 5. Let's fucking go. And they did. It was beautiful. They took that 6-point lead and extended it. They got it back up to 15, 16. Beautiful. Beautiful. This was a sign that Thibs is now looking. Remember, he used to say situational. He would say it and then never really follow through on it. Oftentimes, we'd be pulling our hair out like, my God, we're getting cooked by these little lead guards. Why don't we put DEUCE in there? Well, it happened. It happened. At the 8:51 mark, when Oubre hit a layup to cut the lead to 92-86, Thibs called a timeout. And he made some substitutions. DiVincenzo and Brunson came back in the game, and the recent Detroit Pistons boys, Bojan, who was having a really good first half, and Burks, who somehow inexplicably, he got fouled at the three-point line and missed the first 2 in the fourth quarter when the lead was getting tight. So this is a very interesting situation because I think this is going to be a harbinger of things to come. I think it's possible that DEUCE may be able to hang in the rotation, at least in the beginning, once all the players are healthy. Mostly because Burks troubles me. He was a body. We needed a body, but, his defense isn't what it was. He can't beat anybody off the dribble. And if he's not hitting that three-point shot, then what's he doing out there? So it's difficult. It's difficult. But this guy came through big time for us, especially. So the timeout came in. The players came in, right? Brunson. So it was Brunson, Dante, Josh Hart, DEUCE, and Precious. Kind of a small lineup, but Sixers were playing a small lineup as well. That's what Nick Nurse had countered with that in the third quarter, and it worked beneficially for him. Immediately, DEUCE found Dante for a pull-up three. Bingo. Then suddenly there's some breathing room. The lead went from 6 to 9, and then the Knicks just took it over from that point on. Beautiful moment there. Beautiful moment there. You'll see it in the highlights. Bojan, 22 points today. He hit all 6 of his three-point attempts. 6 for 6. Fabulous. All right, before we get to this, let's get the highlights. Let's go. Here we go. So you can see the Knicks, they got off to a nice little start. They were already up 7-3, and I believe they score right here. Look at that, beautiful. Precious. Precious was outstanding tonight. I tell you, let me pull up his numbers here, because Precious Achiuwa, he played 38 minutes, only missed 2 shots. He took 9 shots, only missed 2, and he took 2 3-pointers and hit one of them from the left corner, which was excellent. We need that. We need that from him. The free throw shooting is problematic. He only hit 3 of 7 from there. However, he had a double-double tonight, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals for him. So that is a fantastic situation. You can see Kyle Lowry came in his first game ever playing in Philadelphia as a professional player for the home team. That's right. He's originally from Philadelphia and went to Villanova. Also a Villanova boy. Man. I don't call him boy. He's a man. So double-double for Precious Achiuwa, 18 and 11. Double-double for Josh Hart, 18 and 12 for him. You can see him run down. I love Hart when he's out on the break. He is lethal, coast to coast. It's when he starts thinking a little too much that it gets problematic, but man, he is wonderful when he does that. Brunson was abused in this game left and right, and there weren't enough fouls being called at first. And he was struggling. In that first half, he only was 3 of 8, and the Knicks were up by like 26 or something. So it just shows when this team is clicking on all cylinders and guys are rebounding ferociously and they're defending ferociously and they're hitting that three-point shot the way they can, at the high level that they can, this team is going to be very, very difficult to beat. And they kept blitzing Jalen. They kept double-teaming him, and he struggled to get the ball out quick enough. And that's part of what caused his issues, because sometimes he does ignore the extra defender and try to split the defense and score, which is part of his game. But when he obviously didn't look that sharp today, so when he's like that, he needs to counter. And guess what he did? 12 assists for him. 12 assists for him, and 2 steals, and even got a block for Mr. Brunson. He did finish with 21 points because he went to the free throw line 11 times and hit all 11 of his free throws. Fabulous game for him. You can see here, all right, they hit a 3-pointer there, but the game starts getting out of control right here. Look at Bojan. Takes him down the right baseline. Look at that turnaround. Nice, right? 22 points for the Croatian. And then Maxey, always devastating. And actually, DEUCE was there, but it was Hart guarding him. And here the Knicks are up by 16, with about 2.5 left. Maxey once again gets into the teeth of the defense in the paint there. Nice little floater. I believe here's a 3-pointer. Boom. So now you start thinking, the Knicks have built up a little lead there. So now the Knicks are up 13 right here. Nice. Beautiful pass. That's how Jalen counteracted his ineffective offensive play. Nice little steal from Dante here, and doesn't blow this dunk. He did blow a dunk earlier in traffic. Kind of reminded me of that other one he blew before the break. Look at this 3-pointer. Bing! I don't know which one that was of Bojan's, but man, he looked money. Oh, here comes another one probably. Yeah, boom. Look at that. Bad pass to him, and he still was able to recover and shoot right over the defender. That's the beauty of having a guy who's 6'7". Here's another one right there. 3. That's three threes in a row right there. And that just blew this game wide open. Look, 69-43. Yeah, I think they scored a 2-pointer here. Yeah, Cameron Payne. At this point, you thought, okay, Knicks are pretty comfortable. They're going to take care of this game. But that third quarter kicks in, and they let the Sixers go on a run, which just kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and that second unit was just becoming ineffectual. The Knicks were outscored, I believe, 35-18. No, 35-22. They 35-22 in that third quarter. So that's it. I mean, a lot of their lead was shaved away, but they did go into the fourth quarter, I believe, with a 10-point lead. There's Precious, man. His game, he's got a nice little game. I think we got a steal from in that trade. I know he was kind of like very little discussed. However, he is pivotal to what the Knicks are doing right now. And it kind of like, I'm wondering, like when that rotation, when everyone is healthy, in some ways, he's kind of on the outs, depending on how Thibs wants to go with this. But I can't see how Thibs can, like, keep a guy out of a lineup who's shooting 7 of 9 and giving you double-doubles, and he's great on the offensive glass. The Knicks were excellent today in rebounding. They out-rebounded them. These stats look odd here. Oh, those are team rebounds. Let's see here. The Knicks out-rebounded the Sixers 53-45. My voice is a little not where it needs to be right now. Ooh, look at that one. So here, this is where it starts getting tight right there. Here we go. This play right here, the one I just described to you, boom. Layup, 8:51, timeout, and then boom. Deuce gets, that's the beauty. Deuce gets the offensive rebound, finds Dante right away for a three, gives us a little breathing room. Oh, here we go. Oh, look at that. And he gets a block, Dante. Yeah, baby. Let's go. Oh, look at that beautiful. That's Precious. Just fight. It was a delayed pass. Nice little cut by Dante, and he paused so the defender didn't see it. And then he kept going. Precious found him. Beautiful bucket. That was a big bucket at that moment. You can see now we're up to 12 points. And then Josh Hart drains top of the key three-pointer. So things are going well when Josh Hart is shooting like that. Josh Hart shot today 7 of 13, 53.8%, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, which is nice. He took 5 three-point attempts, drilled 2 of them, and here we go with a deuce dunk. I feel like once again we're getting a deuce dunk. Beautiful. Josh Hart had 3 assists, no steals, but he did get 1 block, but he played almost 45 minutes in this game. He played 45 minutes. Brunson almost played 40 minutes. So the minutes were catching up, but it's their first game back after a long break. All right, we're coming back around here. Let's get to this. All right, so Bojan, as you see, in 24 minutes, 22 points for him, 2 rebounds, 8 of 13 overall. He's hit all 6 of his 3-point attempts, and Jericho Sims gave us some nice minutes. Himself, 18 minutes. He got 10 rebounds in 18 minutes, and Isaiah Hartenstein, he's kind of on a minutes restriction. I don't know if that's the exact terminology that was used, but he'll be watched because that Achilles. It's basically if the more it's used, the more it's probably going to start barking. So you have to limit his minutes at the moment until he finally works through it. Only ended up with 2 rebounds. So you can tell when Isaiah Hartenstein is on the floor for 11 minutes, only gets 2 rebounds, he's not quite right there. So, but we still needed his presence. Definitely needed it. Did he get a block? No, he did not even get a block. But he did pick up a steal, which is nice. Brunson, look, like I mentioned, he missed all 4 of his 3-point attempts. He struggled from behind the arc pretty badly right there. 5 of 18 overall. So that means he was 5 of 14 inside the arc as well, and he is a beast inside the paint. And I have a stat that they actually showed during the game. If you didn't watch it, you didn't watch the game. I'll show you the stat, which I thought was phenomenal. And Dante DiVincenzo, he wasn't that efficient today. He shot 40% overall, but from the 3-point line, he's a high-volume 3-point shooter, and he hits big ones when you need them, like the one I pointed out there at the 8:51 mark. 4 of 11 overall. Delivered 16 points. The Knicks had 3 players with double doubles, and they had 4 starters or five players in double figures. And let's see, 110 points. I thought at one point this was going to be like a 128 to 90 something total blowout. Didn't work out that way. The Knicks did shoot 44.1% from the three-point line and collected 24 assists. And they shot 58% overall, which is pretty nice. And when you look at the plus-minus, it really tells a story because Brunson, even though he struggled from the three-point line when he's out on the court, he commands so much attention that if he's just able to get the ball out, other guys are going to benefit. And there you see a plus 20 for him in his almost 40 minutes of play. Josh Hart was a plus 13. Dante DiVincenzo a plus 13. Precious Achiuwa a plus 15. And the other one notable was, where's Deuce? Deuce, a plus 2 for him in his... Deuce played 90 minutes, 17 minutes for him. Nice. Man, I'm so proud of Deuce. I'm proud of Thibs. I'm proud of Thibs for making that adjustment because this is something that I've been wanting for a very long time. And at this point, he's showing that it is possible, especially when you look at what, Alec Burks is giving you. 13 minutes. One thing I overlooked was that Brunson did commit 7 turnovers. And that's part of when he was struggling. You can see he just wasn't sharp. Shooting, his moves, he wasn't getting to where the spots he wanted to get to on the floor, and even when he did, he wasn't connecting with the way he usually does. Burks, 7 points for him, 1 turnover, 1 assist, 1 rebound. He missed 2 of 3 free throws, but he did hit 2 of 4 from the three-point line. He gave us some kind of production, which is nice, but in terms of his all-around game, I'm not impressed right now. He did have 1 good game so far, but I'm not impressed right now. Something to keep an eye on. But again, he is a body. He's a vet, and he at any given night he could give you 25 points. He's that kind of guy. We have so many players on this team that are like that. Bojan can give you 25. Dante can give you 25. Burks can give you 25. Brunson, Precious, not necessarily, but and then we got OG. And Julius still waiting to come back. Can't wait till they're available to play. Let's see the Sixers here. You can see Batum. He was kind of like a bully, a bully out there, just grabbing people, fouling people. He ended up with 5 fouls. He probably should have fouled out. He only played 18 minutes. In 18 minutes, he had picked up 5 fouls. No points for him. Tobias Harris, again, I don't know what's happened to him. He's kind of like a ghost of his former self. 7 points for him on 3 of 9 shooting, only 4 rebounds. He did get 3 assists in 27 minutes. Paul Reed, who is an interesting player, but I'd rather have Precious Achiuwa any day over him at this point. And then Maxey, he was basically kept these guys in the game for quite a while, and in that third quarter, he helped spark them. Maxey had 35 points and 11 of 24 shooting, and Maxey 11 points in his debut. As a Sixer in 25 minutes, 5 of 7 overall. You can see why he's still a productive player. It's just 25 minutes is probably a little too much for him, but he was a guy I mentioned before in the other video, and I had forgotten that Sixers had already picked him up. But actually, I would have rather have gotten Lowry than Burks at this situation to help run that second unit. But the way Deuce is playing, loving it. Though he does still struggle running that offense in the second unit without Brunson out there. So that's something he's either going to have to grow into in these last 20-something games and be ready for the playoffs, which can happen. Young players can develop. That's what they do. But they need the time. They need to be put in those situations to do it. So hopefully Thibs will look at him as a source like that. Kelly Oubre needed 14 shots to give you 14 points, and he acted like he was, a world killer. Really glad we didn't get him either. Let's see. What is notable here that I saw? Well, the rebounding, Knicks out-rebounded them 45-38, especially in offensive rebounds. We were +5 right there. And points in the paint. Interestingly, we were beat. Points in the paint. We were -14 there. And fast break points, though. We were +1, 19-18, which is important, but we got to the free throw line 27 times. Did only shoot 70%. However, it did give us a +7 points there at the free throw line, and we had a +15 points from behind the 3-point line. So that's a great formula, but we got to hit our free throws. Now, this is what I want to show you during the broadcast. They showed this in February, the points in the paint leaders. Giannis was number 1 with 19.8 points per game. Brunson was number 2, 18.7. He has been carrying this team since the injuries. Beautifully done. Look at this, 18.7 points. He's right there with Zion Williamson, 18.3, Sabonis, who's a beast in the paint, and then the Joker himself. This is the company that he keeps. This is why this team is a legitimate contender. Legitimate, not a wannabe, not a hopeful, legitimate contender because of that man right there. And even when he struggled, he did other things to help the team win. And Thibs always says, right? If you're not scoring, if you're not shooting well, you can still be a winning player on the court, and that's what Jalen Brunson does. He is a brilliant basketball player. We are so lucky to have him. I cannot wait to see more games. I cannot wait till Friday to see what happens. I can't wait till OG's back. Now, let's talk about the OG situation. He also hasn't done any practice. He hasn't practiced at all, but he said he's progressing. His shoulder is he had the surgery, the elbow surgery for the remove the bone spur irritation. He's progressing. He just didn't, in his interview, he didn't really inject me with a lot of confidence. But whatever, at least he was being interviewed. You know how the Knicks are. They don't even allow their injured players to talk in press conferences, but they allowed him. So that's a hopeful sign that he will be back. Hopefully, I don't know. We don't know. There was no timeline given. But Randall did talk to the media, and he basically, was trying to be as positive sounding as he could, but the reality is they're not going to know until they do another MRI on that shoulder. And if he's progressed and he can handle, the physicality, because he has not been allowed to go on the court at all yet. So it may be another 2 weeks or so before those guys are actually on the court. And if that is what it is, then this is the team. The team we saw tonight is what we're going to have, and it's more than enough to win. More than enough to win. And I wish I had these graphics set up for you guys, but just to give you an idea, points differential. In points differential from cleaning the glass for the first 32 games of the season, which is pre-trade, the pre-OG trade, the Knicks were 11th in the entire NBA in points differential, a plus 2.1, which is good. They're in the top third. They were right behind Orlando, Houston, Denver, those guys. So they weren't a bad team. They weren't a struggling team. They were a good team. They weren't a great team. They weren't showing contending type ability, but they were right there. They were in the 9th. They were 9th in points scored. And they were first in offensive rebounding percentage and 10th in free throw percentage. And in terms of defense, they were 3rd in offensive rebounding percentage in keeping their opponents down in offense, off the offensive glass, and also not sending them to the free throw line. And that was, one of the keys how this team was doing well. But when the trade happened, to when OG and Randall got hurt, the Knicks were 12-2. Number 2 in the entire NBA during that period, behind Cleveland in differential with a plus 16.5. And in terms of defense, they were second best defense, points per 100 possessions. The field goal percentage, they kept their defenders down to 50.5%, which is fabulous. 55.6 is the league average. So this is 5.1% below that, which is tied with Cleveland. And they were number 1 offensive rebounding and number 2 in keeping the opponents off the offensive glass. So everything that they were doing before got infinitely better, like dramatically better. But then those 2 guys got hurt. So in that stretch of games, the New York Knicks, before tonight's game, it doesn't include tonight's game, the New York Knicks went 4-5. So now the Knicks are now 5-5 during this stretch without OG and Randall. But, which then they felt their differential went to minus 1.6, so they dropped to 16th. However, the things they kept doing right were hitting that offensive glass. Even without Randall and OG, and then when you consider, RJ as well was gone or whatever, though he wasn't that great an offensive rebounder. But Isaiah Hartenstein missed several games during this period as well, but the Knicks still were number 2 in the NBA in offensive rebounding. And they still were able to keep the opponents off of the offensive glass. So those things that they were able to do and keep the turnovers down. However, now with Bojan on this team, Burks on this team, give us some minutes, DEUCE progressing into the player that he is now. I mean, he's now becoming, he is fulfilling the promise of him being an excellent point of attack defender. He's doing it. He's the guy that can slow down these other small, speedster guards that can kill us, that have historically killed the Knicks. Now he's there to help hold them down in key situations, like, late in that third quarter, like in that fourth quarter. Those are things that I want to continue to see, and hopefully we will see them. Hopefully we won't even need to see them. That's the best thing. Hopefully we won't even need to see them. So this team right now, I think they're poised to be able to be a plus 500 team for the next however many games, I think it was like 8 or 9 games from, including tonight, from when Randall and OG might come back. So that means if the Knicks go 6-3, fabulous. I think it's possible. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. My name is George. Please subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and share the video. Really appreciate that. Also, hit the thumbs up button for me and drop your comments. Want to hear your thoughts and feelings about the New York Knicks or anything with the NBA. All right. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.